The 1936 Olympic football tournament, won by Italy, has come to share an affinity with the political backdrop against which it was being played. In terms of the history of association football, however, the tournament suffered as a reaction to the development of the FIFA World Cup. The introduction of the first FIFA World Cup in 1930 led to a devaluation in the strength of each subsequent Olympic football tournament. Competing nations would from now on only be permitted to play their best players if those players were amateur or where professional players were state-sponsored. The reinstatement of Olympic football was ensured in 1936 because the German organizers were confident that such a competition would be justified by the income it would generate. The fear that any failure by the host side would result in a loss of income had been a matter of contention despite the fact that going into the competition Germany were one of the favorites. In the event, the early failure of the national side did nothing to deter the supporters, as the bronze and gold medal games were watched by a combined total of 195,000 people. Background: the Italian side, victors in the 1934 FIFA World Cup and managed by Vittorio Pozzo, were favourites. Squads. Medalists. Final tournament. The competition began in dramatic circumstances. The Italians, winners against the Austrians at the 1934 World Cup, now found the Olympic side, with 10 changes, a completely different proposition. The Azzurri included players such as Alfredo Foni, Pietro Rava and Ugo Locatelli, who would all play in their World Cup victory in Paris. That they eventually prevailed was due to two incidents, the first when their bespectacled forward Rossi scored, the second when Wijnaldum, the German referee, was literally restrained from sending off Achille Pixny after fouling two Americans. Italian players held both his arms and covered his mouth in protest. Pixny stayed on the park. Italy won. This was something more than Sweden managed in their tie with the Empire of Japan the next day in Berlin. 2-0 up within 45 minutes, their demise was shockingly recorded by the legendary Swedish commentator, Sven Jerring, calling a Euro Japanese, Japanese Euro as they ran out as winners 3-2. It marked the first time an Asian side had participated in either the World Cup or Olympic Games football competition and the first time an Asian side emerged victorious. Their neighbours, China, lost 0-2 to Great Britain on the next day. Otherwise there were thumping wins for Peru and the hosts, 9-0 versus Luxembourg. First round. Quarterfinals. Italy, now finding their feet against Japan, made no mistake in their tie, winning as comprehensively as they had struggled against the Americans. Pozzo unregistered trademark S decision to include Biaggi bore instant fruit, Bailly scoring 4 goals. The same day at the Post Stadion, Berlin, before a crowd that included Goebbels, Gar Paragraph Ring, Hess and Hitler, Germany were knocked out 2-0 by Norway. Goebbels wrote, "The far one quarter rare is very excited, I can barely contain myself." A real bath of nerves. There was no real surprise to the result to those outside the higher ranks of the Third Reich. Norway went on to give Italy a tricky tie in the first round of the 1938 FIFA World Cup. But Germany lost 2-0 and Hitler, who had never seen a football match before, and had originally planned to watch the rowing, left early in a half. The following day at the Herthaplatz, Austria played Peru in an astonishing game leading to a huge political row not out of keeping with the times. See Peru v Austria. The match was highly contested, and the game went into overtime when the Peruvians tied the Austrians after being 2 goals behind. Peru scored 5 goals during overtime, of which 3 were nullified by the referee, and won by the final score of 4-2. The Austrians demanded a rematch on the grounds that Peruvian fans had stormed the field, and because the field did not meet the requirements for a football game. Austria further claimed that the Peruvian players had manhandled the Austrian players and that spectators, one holding a revolver, had swarmed down on the field. Peru was notified of this situation, and they attempted to go to the assigned meeting but were delayed by a German parade. At the end, the Peruvian defense was never heard, and the Olympic Committee and FIFA sided with the Austrians. The rematch was scheduled to be taken under close grounds on August 10. and later rescheduled to be taken on August 11. As a sign of protest against these actions, which the Peruvians deemed as insulting and discriminatory, the complete Olympic delegations of Peru and Colombia left Germany. Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, and Mexico expressed their solidarity with Peru. Michael Dasso, a member of the Peruvian Olympic Committee, stated, "We've no faith in European athletics. We have come here and found a bunch of merchants." The game was awarded to Austria by default. In Peru, angry crowds protested against the decisions of the Olympic Committee by tearing down an Olympic flag, throwing stones at the German consulate, refusing to load German vessels in the docks of Callao, and listening to inflammatory speeches which included President Oscar Benavides Laire's mention of the crafty Berlin decision. To this day, it is not known with certainty what exactly happened at Germany, but it is popularly believed that Adolf Hitler and the Nazi authorities might have had some involvement in this situation. The last of the quarterfinals had all of the excitement but none of the fallout. Poland, assisted by their forward, Hubert Gadd, played out a 9-goal party to defeat the British side. At one time they were 5-1 to the better. The casuals Bernard Joy scored 2 as Britain fought back gamely but they ran out of time. Prior to the games Daniel Pettit received a letter from the Football Association which dealt mostly with the uniform he would wear. As he explained to the academic Rachel Cutler, there was a handwritten PS that said, "As there is a month to go before we leave for Berlin, kindly take some exercise." The obedient Petty ran around his local park. Due to a pitch invasion, the match was declared null and void, and ordered to be replayed on August 10. Peru objected to the replay decision and withdrew from the tournament. Semifinals. Bronze medal match. The final, Italy now overcame Austria in a match refereed by Dr. Pecco Borns. The Austrians having defeated Poland to attend the final. Not that there was much in it. Fossi again scoring for the Azzurri and getting the winner just as extra time got underway. Bracket. Goal scorers, 7 goals. 6 goals. 5 goals. 4 goals. 3 goals. 2 goals. 1 goal. References. External links, Olympic Football Tournament Berlin 1936, FIFA.com, RSSSF Archive.